What's up guys, and welcome back to another video. Today's video we're talking about England great Lawrence Dallaglio is a little bit annoyed with New Zealand for being unwilling to travel for the autumn/November internationals that generally take place, as mentioned, in November. It's an exciting time for international rugby because we get to see the South tour the North and have phenomenal rivalries that we all know and love, and it's really been absolutely exciting. Now, England were due to play the All Blacks, which would have been a first in a while because it doesn't happen often. Obviously, they met in the World Cup, and that was a cracking game where England totally dominated the All Blacks. So obviously, Mr. Lawrence Dallaglio has got a little bit of confidence within him because he wants to repeat what had happened before. Firstly, I half get what his point is, but also don't understand what the hell he's talking about, because he's also throwing Australia and South Africa into this mixed, being not happy that we're not willing to travel. At this stage, no one really said yes or no to whether we were going to go or not go to the Northern for the Northern Games. I mean, all three Southern Hemisphere teams and Argentina and the others love going to the North. We enjoy the battle, we enjoy the rivalries, we enjoy the excitement and passion level of those rugby games, which are absolutely exciting and intense. And we're going to see some cracking games from Australia, South Africa, New Zealand. So I don't know why he's saying that we're unwilling. Firstly, we're in the middle of a COVID-19 pandemic, and I know he's comparing to Pakistan and the West Indies sides touring to England and going through the quarantine and all that stuff. Great stuff, all good, but you forget that there's still strict ruling within our nation, South Africa. I mean, we're not allowed to freaking even buy alcohol, get cigarettes, go out of our own provincial border, let alone leave the country. So with all due respect, he needs to just pipe down and calm down a little bit, because we are in a situation. Firstly, you guys have played the Six Nations. You continue in the Six Nations. We haven't played any form of international rugby this year. It's not our fault that the June-July internationals were cancelled. It was World Rugby, and rightly so, because of the COVID pandemic. We also have a rugby championship, which is a massive thing down here in the south, where we have the rivalry of Argentina, South Africa, New Zealand and Australia. We're not just going to throw that away because it's a respective tournament, just as important as the Six Nations. Just imagine you guys didn't do the Six Nations and went straight into the June-July internationals, for example. There would have been crap coming from our gut. Well, we didn't actually make any comments about it. So for me, he needs to just calm down a little bit, because I know he's excited because the All Blacks lost the last time England won, but also COVID-19 has just hit New Zealand again. Yes, it's small at this time, but the ruling is strict because they are holding it out. I mean, it's 103 days until this first COVID-19 positive person or family that was outside the isolation areas, which is outstanding, but you've got to be aware. And just because the ruling's a little different here and there, we can't bend our rules. So I don't think, I mean, why are we going to the Rugby Championship? Because there's history. Two, why are we going to New Zealand for the Rugby Championship? Because it's safer. It was the city with no, or the country with no pandemic or cases in a few 100 days. So of course we're going to go that route and follow that example. I mean, it's rightly so, and continue the tournament, because at least we get to have international rugby. We weren't spoiled. Well, not spoiled, don't get me wrong there. Obviously, it's different seasons, but we didn't get international rugby in Feb and March. Yes, you were postponed, but you still got international rugby. We've just been playing Super Rugby, and that was on hold. So we've had no form of international contact. So for me, we want to win, play for a title, go for it, and see what can happen, especially because of the rivalry. I mean, also, South Africa were in the talks originally with this whole tournament thing with Six Nations teams, but then we got kicked out for Fiji and Japan. So, you know, World Rugby is making the decisions here, not South Africa, not New Zealand, not Australia. I mean, they could have moved. The only reason the Rugby Championship is starting so late is because of the bloody pandemic. We're not sure when or how it's going to work. So we have to delay the tournament a little bit. So, you know, Lawrence Dallaglio, I respect you, mate. But you know, we've got to follow the rules and procedures of what's going on. You will get England one day, you will get New Zealand one day, you will get South Africa, you will get Australia, but not right now. And I think you should realize that, because World Rugby have the power, and they are your buddies in Europe. So they could have thought, why not include a tournament with South Africa, New Zealand, Australia? No rumours or discussion about that. It was South Africa at one stage. Then that was quickly thrown off, and then it became with Japan and Fiji. We all know the great relationship they have with the old Bill Beaumont. So that's what happened. It's not that we are unwilling to travel. I think all respective unions want to get out. It's just our government doesn't know what the heck to do in this current situation of a pandemic. So we're not sure whether we're Arthur or Martha right now. I mean, there was talk of us going in September. That's now up in air again. We were going to move down to level 2 lockdown. No one knows what's going to happen. So unfortunately, we're sitting in a situation where we actually don't know what the heck's going on. So with all due respect, Lawrence Dallaglio, before you chirp and get irky or annoyed or whatever the word terminology is going for the All Blacks, just realise the situation we're in. Yes, West Indies and Pakistan managed to travel and all that jazz, cool stuff, organised well. Remember, it's cricket. It's cricket, mate. It is a sport that's not physical contact. It's a sport that you are keeping already your social distancing. You can't compare the two, mate. You've got to realise that it's a physical contact sport. The exposure, the social distancing. Just think of all the logics of the statistics around that before you go and take out New Zealand. So for this one, I'm backing the South, because I just think it's unnecessary comments. But hey, at the end of the day, we are in a situation that we can't control, and we'll wait and see. Obviously, I would love to play in the North right now, but it's just not viable at this stage. We'll have to wait and see what happens. We can quarantine, we can do all those things, but also World Rugby needs to make the decision. So for me, instead of going for us, go at your buddy Bill Beaumont, who's the one who's deciding these things with these sidekicks at the bottom, because they currently seem to be running the roost, and that's exactly why New Zealand want to go out on their own. That's going to do it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. Give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you real soon for another one. Stay safe and never give up. Cheers.